Hi everyone, Charlie Veitch here. I've not done one for like a month or two, so this is the Charlie Veitch coronavirus update. Now, hold on to your ball sacks, clench your anuses, because I've changed my tune a little bit since the last one. Is someone coming in? No, right. So, last time I picked up on this, there was a mortality rate somewhere between 7 and 20%, depending on what maths you look at. Now, it's been going on long enough that they've done enough blank studies, blind test studies. Mortality rate, as I mentioned on the army testing video, where they're like, no, stop filming, your camera's gonna steal my photons. Somewhere between 0.2 and 0.7. That's, but here's the thing. Let's not discount this virus yet, because Jesus fucking Christ, sorry to blaspheme. I love Jesus. I'm a good Catholic boy. I'm sorry. But Jesus Christ, just in the last 2-3 weeks, it's accelerated. We're getting about 250,000 new cases a day. These are the confirmed cases. We're getting between 5,000 and 6,000 deaths per day confirmed. Now, I'm not going to get into the conspiracy theory, like, are they just marking every death just because they happen to contract? Say someone's dying of liver disease, and just before they die, they get coronavirus, and then they die of liver disease, and are they marking that as a corona death? I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. But say heart disease or tuberculosis, these other things are killing 4,000 or 5,000 a day. Coronavirus is number one for health-related deaths worldwide. I don't know how it compares to obesity or smoking or that things, but for actual viral diseases, coronavirus is number one. America is having a lot of cases, and so you got 250,000 new cases a day. I think we're on 13 million today as of this morning. Yesterday, 5,500 people died around the world. Now, to put this in perspective, here's the thing. I don't know how many people die naturally every day from the 7.7. Did you know we're like 3 months away from having 8 billion people on Earth? If you go to the worldometer, the kind of live population thing, even with this allegedly really bad virus, we're still increasing by 100 million people. It's insane every month, every year. It's a lot of people are increasing. So compared to other people who are anti-natalists who say bad things about babies, people are not crazy. People are still having babies because they believe in the future. Let's pause this for a sec. Right, I paused it because I was forgetting what I was going to say. So, do you remember March, April, May, I think early June when I stopped doing the coronavirus updates? I was running around city centre, not wearing a mask. I was megaphoning, I was arguing with crackheads, I was chatting to police, I was going into retail stores, I was commenting on this and that and the homeless and so forth. I'll be very honest. Let's just lay our balls on the table here. Let me just grab my gonads, slam my large testicles on the table for you to see, and be honest and say, I was hoping, I think you all know this about me, bit of an anarcho-primitivist, a bit of an inner caveman, a slight neo-Luddite, a bit upset at the modernity of the world. I'm just paranoid. I've left the windows open. I don't want my elderly neighbors to know I'm a crazy person. I did. Okay, that was awkward. I feel like I've been caught having a wank. I had the windows open. The neighbors were sunbathing directly outside there. They don't know this about me. Anyway, lovely people. They're actually good Christians, and they're very decent neighbors to us. They gave a birthday card to my daughter, which they didn't have to. It's very sweet. So as I was running around with the coronavirus, I hoped that this was the big one. This was the kind of the one that would fell clown world. It would be the chainsaw that took the clown tree down. But it didn't. It didn't. I was sold this dream of the end of clown honky honk industrial society. But it carries on regardless. There's a great meme I saw. It was like, coronavirus is going to take down capitalism. And then he goes, no, capitalism. And it was like a big store saying COVID-19 essentials. It's like, it adapts. The system adapts. But what we have now, I was hoping that coronavirus would end this clown world. And it's an irrational thing. Here I am using this advanced technology, using the internet, using YouTube, and so forth. Yeah, I want to be a caveman. It's a bit irrational and not right thinking. I'm not fully right in the head, I admit that. But it didn't. So we now have, like, masks have become a political thing. You know, I did a video saying I didn't really believe in the evidence about masks, but you know, everything has the loopholes. Like, you're gonna get masks will stop a bit of the breath that comes out. But you know, when you see people working in virology labs, when you see a kind of a biohazard spill, the experts that go in, they're wearing full hazardous material suits. They look like Dustin Hoffman in Outbreak. They look like those characters out of the film Contagion. They're not turning up with like a little N95 mask or a little surgical mask and a few gloves. And like, what happens when you get home? Does your mask and your gloves become biohazards? If you've been touching shop shelves or whatever, you know, do you have to incinerate it as soon as you get home? Now I know, like, I'm not an absolutist. This isn't black and white. You have to kind of lower risk. So to everyone that called me out correctly for me saying there was no evidence that masks do anything, thank you. I stand corrected, and I am standing. So let me just pause this as I've lost my train of thought. So it came out in the UK government today that the British Parliament has officially released a statement. They are not, I repeat, no mandatory masks in shops. Now, Nicola Sturgeon, the poison dwarf that runs the Scottish National Party, nationalist, saying bad things about the English. I'm half Scottish, half Brazilian. My 3 children are born in England. I love English people, but nationalism is like, it's I don't know. Let's not get into that. But in Scotland, it's compulsory to wear face masks in the shop. And that's, you know, that's fine. You each have their own rules. I think the public kind of support that. But the English, which runs the whole of the UK, the English Parliament, the British Parliament, shall I say, said, no, we're not going to force, we're going to treat you all like adults. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you want to wear gloves, wear gloves. But we're not going to deny you access to bread and milk and water and food if you don't want to put the mask on. Don't know if you've been watching the news, but you know, maybe you're kind of tired of riots. Maybe you're tired of seeing big groups of people smash the absolute arsehole out of city centres. But interestingly enough, whilst we're on the coronavirus update, in Serbia, you may remember Serbia from previous wars, such as the attack on Belgrade, the arrest of Slobodan Milosevic. If you're old enough, I was, I think, 19 when NATO decided to bomb the hell out of Serbia. And like, you know, let's not get into whether that was a good thing, but one thing we can say, in the 90s in Europe, you do not do mass execution, you do not do ethnic cleansing. That's bad. So, you know, if you're going to use precision-guided bombs from a F-18 or an F-15 to blow up people that want to kill kids, I'll look the other way. But in Serbia and Belgrade, they were like, oh, the R0 is going up, the contagion is spreading. So the government said, right, you're all going into lockdown, all the shops are closing, all the bars are closing, everything's closing. What did the people do? They said no, they rioted, and what did the Serbian government do? Sorry, we got it wrong, no more lockdown, please wear your masks and your gloves and your hand sani, and so forth. For me, personally, just to share some, I guess, personal stuff. For a lot of the last year, in fact, for all of the last year, I've been living in hotels. I don't live here where I'm shooting this video. My children live here. I see my children every day. Whether it's I come here for my daughter's birthday party, which is today, or I take them out. But for anyone that has had a breakup or a split up, maintain good relations with your other co-parent and make sure the children do not suffer at all. And it's business as usual. And a few things have to change. It's like the new normal, but everyone gets used to it. Everyone's happy. There's no bad blood. So when I say my neighbors it's not really my neighbors, but it's my kids' neighbors. So maintain good relations with your partner or your former partner. I'm going to end this video with a thought I had the other night. Now, I'm not going to say anything except I am the world expert on epidemiology, on viruses, on viral load, on junk DNA. So I'm going to tell you the truth about the coronavirus. There's there's no big scary conspiracy. What probably happened is as follows. The Wuhan Institute of Virology, which amazingly enough, I can't remember, it was the same logo as the Umbrella Corporation. Is it Resident Evil? That some virus turned people into zombies? But obviously they're not copying the video game, but a nice coincidence. So obviously the Wuhan Institute of Virology, they were studying pneumonia-like respiratory syndrome, severe acute respiratory syndrome, viruses. We don't say viri because I don't think it comes from the Latin or the Greek. It's just like a modern word, so we don't say viri, we say viruses. So they were studying the horseshoe bat virus that gave the bats the cough. They changed some little bits and bobs on it to make it very contagious to humans. Now, why would they do this? Well, I think there is a benign explanation. I don't think everything is interdimensional demon elves trying to harvest pain from people. It's not Monsters, Inc. making kids scream to get energy. They did it to study its pathogenicity, to see if it was a future problem. And also, if this is a bioweapon, it's a bit of a weak, pathetic bioweapon. And also, why would China bioweapon their biggest customer? Like, let's say if I was a drug dealer, would I really poison all my customers? No, you want them to keep coming back. You want America to keep buying cheap Chinese goods. And the last thing they're going to do is if they think you've poisoned them, they're not going to buy your goods. So they were tinkering with this horseshoe bat thing, which doesn't even live within 1,000 miles of Wuhan, I think. And the wet market, they studied the Wuhan wet market. They weren't selling bats, especially not the horseshoe bat. He's a real ugly little mother effer, like real nasty. They don't call it the horseshoe face bat for no reason. His face looks like a deformed horseshoe. So let's get a bit esoteric here. So they were tinkering with this. Welcome to ancient Egypt. They were tinkering with this virus and it all went wrong. It spread. And it's extremely contagious, but not as deadly as the MERS, the Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, not as deadly as SARS from 2003? Yes, 17 years ago. So this one is causing a lot of problems. The reason they went into extreme lockdown, and they didn't for swine flu, they didn't for SARS, they didn't for MERS. I remember swine. Do you guys remember 2009, 2010? Swine flu in the evening news in London. UK government orders 50,000 body bags. It was real, like... And I found the video. I'm going to try and launch a few things from the vault. Found the video. I'm on the megaphone. If you're not scared of swine flu, you will not get swine flu. Now, of course, that's bullshit, but let's tell you the truth. The way viruses work, and I am Mr. Randy Pan, the expert man, so listen closely to me. Don't listen to those experts on TV. Listen to the Charlie Veitch channel. I've got no agenda here. Every human body has about 80% of your DNA code is what's called junk DNA. Now, it doesn't do anything for your genetics, your expression, yourself. You get half your genes from each parent. The junk DNA doesn't give you your attributes. It hasn't given me my extremely handsome, thick eyebrows. But what the junk DNA does, it's like a kind of net, or a filter. So when viruses come in, and obviously viruses alter your junk DNA to replicate and to spread to other cells, and then So what you want, a young, healthy person, this is why it doesn't affect kids, COVID-19, doesn't affect babies, COVID-19, doesn't affect adolescents, COVID-19. Now, I don't want anyone to write in the comment section, but Charlie, 5 kids died in 6... Look, every human being on Earth has 2 arms, but you don't need to put in a biology book. Some human beings have 1 arm. When we sent out that Voyager probe with the kind of disc with the human message on it, hi, we come in peace with a naked man, they didn't put a little thing, oh, by the way, some humans are transgender, some humans have no arm. You don't need to say this. Look, you get half your genes from either parents. Your junk DNA, it's like a repository of things so that when a virus comes in that actually alters DNA, whether it's whatever the virus is, the common cold, another coronavirus, a rhinovirus, human papilloma virus that gives you warts, or herpes, whatever, that alters your junk DNA. And a young, healthy person with a strong immune system, it's like a bulletproof vest. You can have viruses, it can change your junk DNA as much as it wants, and then it buggers off. You've got the immunity because it's done its job. It's changed your DNA. And it's junk DNA. But for the elderly, or for those with underlying health conditions where your body might freak out, you might have an underlying autoimmune condition. Your body freaks out. That junk DNA system which catches the virus, is altered by it, changes, doesn't affect you, and then it buggers off. That's when you die. So viruses are not necessarily dangerous. And what we have now, this virus is not necessarily that dangerous, and that's been proven to be the case. You know, for young people, you've probably got more chance of being hit by Elvis riding the Loch Ness Monster coming down on a mushroom-powered UFO than dying from coronavirus. So what the big pharmaceutical companies now, there's even a story coming out. They're like, oh, it's becoming weaker. You know, what if coronavirus dies out before we can create a vaccine? I always thought the vaccine idea was pie in the sky. Where's the vaccine for SARS? Where's the vaccine for HIV? Where's the vaccine for MERS? They don't exist because these things are hard. These viruses are always changing. So let me pause it again so I can gather my train of thought. So the great rush was, let's make billions, because you know the fear they've pumped out. I'd say most citizens in most countries would take a COVID-19 virus if it was offered. Just think of the profits when you've got almost, let's say 6 billion people at 7.7 billion are rushing. They're like, shut up and take my money. Government's buying batches, billion. I don't care what the cost is, just give us the vaccine. But viruses don't want to kill you. Viruses want to change your junk DNA, they want to replicate, and they want to bugger off. Like most human beings don't want to kill you. They want to come here, have a good time, have some kids, pass on their DNA, and then bugger off. So life doesn't want to do bad, but obviously sometimes but the vaccine manufacturers are getting upset because not only, and this is in the maths, is the virus getting weaker, but to the virus it's becoming more efficient. Because you don't really want to kill your customers. You don't really want to kill your host. You want to keep your host nice and healthy so that you can spread. If you're killing your host after 10 days, you're missing out valuable spreading opportunities. So the virus is just like any other item of life. It just wants to keep on going. It wants to replicate, keep on going. So by genetic selection, by Darwinian selection, happens with every virus, it gets weaker and weaker and weaker. So now we've got, 250,000 new infections per day, yet the death rate isn't rising that much. So the virus is getting weaker. Now, to end on a kind of cautionary note is, obviously, if you are elderly, if you have strong underlying health conditions, take every precaution you can. But for the rest of you, trust in yourself, trust in the universe, don't be scared. You can build a beautiful ship and it will be safest in port. But that ship wants to go on adventures. That ship wants to go out there and have cannon battles with pirates in the Caribbean. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. And one final thing as well. I just want to say, I did a video a few videos ago saying that, the company I work for is being wound up because of this whole coronavirus thing. My income has died off. So if you do enjoy these videos, please do drop me some funding. The ways to do it are in the description box. And a company that I really like, these guys. These are awesome guys based in Ireland. They have a web development company, a hosting company called Blackbeard Hosting. And I think when they contacted me, I still had the big black beard, although I am growing it back now because I am their official UK partner. I'm going to put the codes so that if you want to buy a domain, if you want to do some web hosting, if you want to do some development, don't go to the big mainstream companies. Go to a company that actually believes in free speech, that believes in the lack of censorship, that believes in the Charlie Veitch. So thank you guys at Blackbeard Hosting. This video, I guess, is in a way to kind of say to all my audience that I am with you guys. I've not had time this weekend to do the things that I need to do on the site, but just to all my audience, Blackbeard Hosting are building me a platform that is YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all built into one, where we have full control of the videos. I can say anything. Nothing's going to get banned. Nothing's going to get demonetized because my audience is the best audience in the world. And just like me, you guys know that everything should be free expression except direct threats of violence or threatening people, individuals, so that they feel bad. Everything else is free. And if I get into trouble, if I get sued by if I get, arrested by the UK government for the many things I am going to say, then at least I've got you guys to back me up. So this is a bright new dawn. I'm almost getting blinded by how bright the horizon is. So guys at Blackbeard Hosting, thank you very much. I believe in you guys too, which is why we've come together right now. Onwards and upwards, this is Charlie Veitch on the 12th of July, 2020.